Hello everyone, how guys doing? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day, and today we're here with a video on where is the World Cup boom? What is happening? So a lot of people have this question of, where's the World Cup boom? I was told that when the World Cup comes around, prices go up and then, things look good and I make money. And that's the way things should be, right? And historically, that's been the way things have been because, well, honestly, the hobby's had a pretty, even keel move upwards for a long time. And so whenever the World Cup comes around, some new people get involved, that new little, spark of life brings a little bit of a bump and we keep going. That's typically how it works. This World Cup, I think, is entirely different for many reasons that we'll get to talk about, but one of which is that, there was this accumulation phase for a ton of people, myself included, in terms of so many people got into the hobby the last 2 to 3 years that, there are people that do want to sell, surprisingly enough. There are people that do want to sell, and this looked like an amazing exit point. And so a ton of people in their minds had planned, this is when I'm going to sell my card. And whether or not they need to sell their card now, or they're just sticking to the plan they had, that's what a lot of people did. And when you get this, ton of supply on top of the lack of demand that we've been seeing, you do start to get some cards falling down. Now, other cards can stay still, can even do good. It really is a case-by-case basis, but holistically, a lot of people are asking, where's the boom? And that's what I want to talk about today, why we haven't experienced that and what my take is on it. I will preface this all by saying I'm someone that's very long-term soccer. When I collect soccer cards, when I think about the future of soccer cards, I'm thinking years and years and, even decades ahead in terms of where I think it can be. This isn't some sort of, oh, on this date, because there's this game, it's going to all click. That really isn't how this works. Collecting and the price movement of these things has to be very organic and has to happen over time. It cannot be one sudden event, because as we've seen in the past, when it's one event, usually it's an anomaly and then prices go back down. And so really you need this long-term build, which the World Cup doesn't allow for. That's one small section of time. With that said, though, let's get on over to the plethora of tabs that I have open today. So we'll talk about the first reason as to why things aren't going great, and that's just going to be macro. I mean, I'm looking at the Dow right here, but you can pick a lot of other stocks that have done much worse, and just holistically speaking, basically, I mean, what? If we go on the 1-year chart, we are down 3-4%. And if you go from the highs, we're down, 5-10%. And if you pick the bottoms at where we've been at times, we can be down 15-20% depending on where we're at. So basically the holistic market is down. That's very obvious. That's apparent. People know that. But also inflation's up. So the markets are down, but costs are higher, which then, sort of keep perpetuating the lower prices that we see in these markets because people have to sell to do the other thing. And so inflation already basically lessen the value of certain things, and then people have to sell, which lessens it even more, and it creates that sort of downward trend that we've seen. Now, I can pull up Bitcoin or any sort of crypto. Obviously, crypto's gotten slaughtered. Same thing with NFTs, same thing with most digital assets that people were collecting or, investing in. And so, let's be honest, no one was really collecting NFTs. But point being, no matter where you go, this has been the case. I mean, no matter what market you're in, for the most part, 99% of things are getting killed or have been killed, right? Nothing's really just standing up and saying, this is a great market to be in, this is what you should be doing. Everything's sort of been in limbo. This isn't just a cards thing. This is a holistic outlook on the market. Now, where does that come from? I mean, you have these articles all the time. Inflation, you got war, you got lockdowns, you got international conflict. Like, there's just so much going on right now. And markets love certainty. Markets love to know what they're getting into. That's why whenever cards get graded, cards have, price graphs over a long time. That's what gives people certainty in hopping in. The opposite is true, where if you don't have certainty, people aren't going to hop in because they're nervous, they're scared. And when you're nervous and scared, you build up what you can and you save it and you hoard it and you keep it close to you because you're nervous and scared, right? And so that's where we're at in terms of the market and in terms of just the global outlook. Nervous and scared is the overwhelming sentiment. When that's the case, the story goes, typically it's a good time to hop in. Doesn't have to be cards, it can be whatever market you enjoy, whatever markets you're trying to get into, but the outlooks in general are not good. So that is the first big overarching theme behind why there's no World Cup bump. Everyone's nervous and scared. Number 2, I'm going to go on over to my Instagram, which I feel like is going to, provide, I guess, good insight in terms as to how people collect or how people get into this. So I started collecting in early 2020. So this is when prices were actually, still affordable. So I started with football, baseball, basketball, because that's kind of what I watched at the time. I was really getting into soccer, but I hadn't, started collecting it because people weren't doing it at the time. So I didn't think about it. But then I started getting into it, right? Now, this Topps Chrome Weston McKennie out of 25. This looks like an amazing card. Now, at the time, that was a $25 or $30 card when I bought that. And so that's my first entry into the soccer card market, was a $25 or $30 card, okay? Beyond that, I started buying base Prism cards. Then I bought some Gio Reyna rookies. Then I bought a Kevin De Bruyne Obsidian numbered. I mean, all these basically are less than $20. None of them are crazy cards. I bought these Ronaldos, which at the time, raw, those were 30 bucks a piece. I bought, just some Prism colors. Those were 10, 20, 30 bucks a piece. Look, point being, when you enter a market, when you just start collecting cards, because that's what this is, it's not a market. Realistically, it can be both. It can be collecting, it can be a market. But when you start getting in terms of collecting a new sport, you don't start big. I mean, unless you want to make a big mistake, you start small and then work your way up. So like I did here, early on, I was buying, I mean, look at the soccer cards. None of them are crazy. That's the coolest one. That was like $100 at the time, maybe a little more. I mean, I wasn't buying crazy cards. I mean, look, Messi World Cup stickers, more base Prism. I mean, this is how people get into it, right? And then now you can scroll up and, it's going to take forever to load. But yeah, I got a Messi rookie, Ronaldo. I got these cool, that's how it changes, right? 2 to 3 years later, here I am. I've learned, I've grown, I've got this collection, I've gotten cooler cards. That's how it goes, right? And so when there's these people that have, great cards, say you're someone that owns a Messi or Ronaldo rookie and you're selling them now, keep in mind, you're not selling that to someone new in the hobby like people thought they were gonna do. People that are just entering the hobby now, and I know this because my eBay sales have shown it, the last 3 cards I've sold on my eBay has been a $5 Serginho Dest card, a $15 Roberto Carlos card, and a $15 Patrick Vieira card. And honestly, I don't prospect a lot, but the people that are prospecting and have a lot of the young guys, I'm sure they're getting a lot of sales value in cheap cards. I don't do that. I just buy and sell USMNT, which does have some movement. But what I'm talking about is people start small, no matter what it is. So when there's this massive glut of supply hitting the market, which we're going to talk about here in a second, coupled with the fact that the new entrants into this, they're not spending the massive money. There's this discrepancy between what people expected and what people are going to get, right? And I think over time, what people are going to get is going to be higher and higher and higher in terms of the new entrants are going to know more and be willing to spend more over time. But when they first enter, they're not going to do that. And if they did, I'd be scared for them because that's terrifying. And you also don't want to enter the market and buy grails because then you have nothing to aim for, to achieve. You have to start small and then you have to get better, which then takes me over to the next part of the equation, which is the supply side of things and the fragmentation of the market. So personally here, a lot of USMNT cards, as you can see, but on eBay, obviously there are auctions going off every second of every day. So that is one site you have to be keyed in on to an extreme to know what's going on and to be able to get the best cards, the best deals, right? Not only are there eBay auctions and buy it now, so you have to look through, but then you got to go to PWCC. You gotta, because, the soccer market loves PWCC, so you got to go check out their weekly. And in their weekly, there's 1,000 cards every week for soccer, right? I mean, I can go, so we'll go with the December 4th one. I'm going to go category and soccer, apply. How many are in here? 1.3 thousand are in here. Great. PWCC also had a malfunction recently where it kind of backlogged all the supply to a week later. So not only do you have this massive supply, but you also have these companies that are messing up distributing the supply, which then, couples the supply together, makes it even bigger. And so now you got 1.3K cards to look through this week in PWCC. Now, granted, a lot of them aren't cards you're going to want, but you got to find them. Okay, now what's next? Well, let's check out gold. Oh, wait, we didn't even check all of them. I forgot. We got the premiere on PWCC. What's on the premiere this month? I don't know. Well, it's already closed, but you got to look through that too. Now, Golden. Okay, Golden. What do we got? Well, we got the World Cup auction, and then you got an Elite auction, and then last month there were other auctions. There was an auction that just ended 3 or 4 days ago, and now we got the World Cup auction. So there's 1.3 thousand cards in here, and look at the cards. No lack of great cards in here. And my question is, to all these people selling right now, now, like the types of people selling this, I guess you know you're going to get a good liquidity point because people are going to be watching the World Cup. People are going to be clued in on the market. But realistically, is this the best time to sell all these cards? I mean, we can keep scrolling, but there are just great cards scattered throughout. Hopefully I can get my hands on some. And honestly, this is the type of stuff I had not seen ever. Like you have two, I think there's way more, but there's at least two Jude 1-of-1 selling in this auction alone, plus many others. He did nothing in this World Cup. He did nothing, at least so far. Maybe he goes on to do some more, but by the time this card sells, I mean, there's no hype. There's no hype. You would have had so much more hype selling at a different time, and you just have all these people, you know, on all the prospects, they all thought now's an amazing time. But I mean, realistically, what's going to happen in group stages that changes anything? What's going to happen in group stages that changes anyone's perspective on this stuff? I don't see it. I understand the thought process, but personally, I'm not someone that's selling into this type of, you know, quantity that's going out there. I would not be selling my stuff alongside of this. So once you get done looking through the eBay for the week and the 1.3 thousand on PWCC, and then their Elite, and then Golden's 1.3 thousand, then you also have Alt. You can go on Alt. They have, you know, liquid auctions that go off every now and then. Honestly, they don't have much soccer. Typically, it's like maybe five cards that sell in their auctions on soccer. I'm not going to go look through it because it's kind of a waste of time, but you get the idea. Another site with more auctions. There's also tons of other, like Memory Lane. I could try to remember others, but there are smaller ones that then also do sell this type of stuff. And then you have also Whatnot, which Whatnot, at least from what I can tell, seems to be dying off a little bit, but still, you have people here that are just selling off all the cards they have at, you know, $1 auctions with 10 people in chat, and, you know, that's going to kill comps, and that's going to, you know, just kill the money that those people are making too. But at the end of the day, point being, every week there's easily, well, not every week to be fair, but during this World Cup time, there have been tons of cards to go through. Now, I don't think it's all doom and gloom here. I'm on my eBay watch list, and I'll talk to you about why right now. So I think that we're seeing this time in the market where there is a ton of supply and not a lot of demand, and so much supply with high cards, with amazing cards, with Grail type cards that don't show up every day. And I'm just going to use the USMNT market perspective on this because it's what I know the best and what I can talk on the most. But this is page 2 of my watch list right here. And as you can tell, it's tomorrow already, which means that page 1 of my watch list is today. And today is the US versus Iran, which means that on my watch list, on the game day of which we could go to the knockout stages, there is only 10 or less USMNT cards worth watching, in my opinion. Now, how does that stack up? Well, during the, you know, regular types of days in the market, there might be 1 or 2 USMNT cards that are on auction that are worth noting, maybe 3 or 4 on a big day, right? And so you say, well, obviously the World Cup brought out more, right? Instead of having 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 or 4 cards, there's 10 on a day, so there's more supply, right? So of course, the answer is that, yeah, 10 auctions is more than 1 to 4. What's the point? What are you trying to say? And here's what I'm trying to say. So today, on a massive day for the USMNT, there are 10 auctions going off, right? Well, this was Wales versus US on Monday. So basically, I'm going to scroll through here real quick. You'll get an idea. Look, Gold Weston, Red Weston, Gold Weston. I mean, all the colors of the rainbow, Pulisic, just everything you could want. I'll keep scrolling. This is all on the same day. And also there is an insane deal right here on top of many other deals, but this one I felt was worthy of pointing out to show how crazy this stuff kind of got. This is a lot that sold for $200 of Pulisic rookies. And you might say, well, whatever, but this lot has a PSA 10 Silver Prism rookie of Pulisic in it. That card alone had been selling for about $1,500. I even see people on Instagram asking for base PSA 9s to sell for $200 when this whole lot just sold for $200, right? Like, people are so detached from the market, and even people that buy USMNT, some of the, you know, bigger fish that don't really dig into the weeds, you know, they're asking big money on stuff when this type of stuff is falling through the cracks on eBay because they don't actually, you know, really want to collect. They're not about that grind. They're not about that life. They're just trying to, you know, get some flips here and there. And that's what a lot of people do. But that's just one example. I mean, I can keep scrolling here. This was all in one day. There was an out of 25 Topps Chrome Reyna. There's an out of 49 Pulisic rookie. There's, you know, an out of 25 Tyler. Like, that was an amazing card. There's just amazing cards after amazing cards. And this was all one day. And this is one page. There's actually a second page of basically the same stuff. You know, there was 100 to 200 cards listed in one day on auction. And why? I mean, I guess if the US beats Wales, that's a huge boost, and then we're going to get out of the group, so maybe everyone's hyped. But when you have 100 to 200 cards selling on one day, when typically there's one or two, listen, it's all about supply and demand. That is a shit ton of supply without the shit ton of demand to follow. Because even if the new collectors got into the USMNT, they're not going out and buying all the best cards that day. It's going to take time. So for the 100, 200, I mean, I'm sure it's not that many people, but for all the people that are, you know, racing to sell, there's not people racing for that demand. That demand is slow growing and will keep going throughout time. In my opinion, that's the way I see things. But hear me out. This takes time. Like everything in life, nothing is quick, nothing is easy. People want quick and easy? Well, you got it. Have quick and easy, go sell on Golden with the, you know, World Cup auction block and take the massive discount that you might end up taking. Now, to be fair, there are a lot of eyeballs, and with, you know, auctions and having these big listings, it does bring a lot of people to the same place at the same time, which can really kind of, you know, compete on prices if you have the right types of cards. But as you're saying, if you don't have the right types of cards, that's where you get hurt, and that's what's been dangerous in this market. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Hopefully you feel a little bit better about what is going on. I think that this is just, you know, one of those crazy moments in time like we've seen before in this market, like we'll see again in the future, I'm sure, where, you know, it's a turning of doors moment where what door are you going through, which way you're going to take, up to you, and it's probably going to be, you know, important in terms of how this plays out long term. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Would also love to hear your comments on the situation, and if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.